Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Friday live stream, whether it's Friday night or Friday afternoon, wherever you're viewing from. Welcome. Uh, and we have, it's Friday the 13th today, so happy Friday the 13th. I don't know if anybody out there is superstitious or not, but we have four of us today. Actually have Greg. Uh, Broadcasting from the Bonnie Main out on the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. And we have Mark from Book Time with Elvis and Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics. So, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, you look good, Greg. That's quite a view
Thank
there,
you.
man.
Yeah, I'm jealous of Greg's weather, that's for sure. Here it's horrific. So
Yeah,
you can
you're
tell my
saying
hair. I've just come in from Elvis, and it's like that windy rain. So it's the rain that just blows right at you. It's freezing. So
Oh, it's a cold rain. See, I love the rain, but if it's cold rain, no thanks.
no,
Oh, I
it's
know, and windy.
really cold.
I
Yeah.
would prefer cold rain to a steamy hot summer, though.
Well,
It's hard because last Sunday was 31 degrees, so that's hot for you guys who don't know Celsius,
Mhm.
and not like super hot, but it's
No,
warm. It's certainly
so
very
it's-
warm. And then today's 4 degrees, so it's like complete turnaround.
yeah, that's weird. But I'm sure it'll get warm again before the month is through, eh, Mark?
Yeah, it's set to from I think Tuesday. It's going to shoot back up to like 20 something, which is fine. And
Yeah.
the rain is there, but we've got flood warnings all issued across the country, and rivers are close to bursting their banks because it's literally been so far 4 days of non-stop rain with 2 more continuous days ahead.
Mm.
So
Wow.
We
Yeah.
about a month or so back, we had a lot of rain here, and we had places flooding that had never flooded before, like people's basements being flooded, roads being flooded out. I don't know if that's a sign of the times with all the development going on or what. I don't know, man. But
sign of the end times, man. The
sign
end
of the
times.
end times. Yeah, I almost
Yeah.
believe it.
Still,
Yeah.
so far at least, the house is still standing. And
Uh-huh.
I'm quite impressed because all the groundworks, like the landscaping he's done, where he's raised it up, I thought it might have collapsed away a little bit or something, but no. Touch wood.
Oh,
If there's any wood here, it's still holding up. So,
That's good.
well, yeah, we'll see after the weekend.
This is the test.
Yeah,
God, Mark builds his new house and it gets flooded away.
yeah. Oh, don't.
I'm sure they know that they knew what they were doing when they built the house.
Oh,
There's
sure.
a little village right where you are, right? So
Yeah, of course. And there's 2 other houses just brand new built. You can see probably them behind me. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, there's one right there.
Yeah. Yeah, you were saying you could see into her room last Friday.
Well, no, I didn't mean it like that. Like I could see into her room. I could see into her kitchen. So, yeah, not there with the binoculars.
basically
No,
you're saying
because we were talking about people looking into your room.
Yeah,
And if
she
you can
could.
see then they can see into yours too.
Yeah, she could. She could. Yeah, probably right now. Especially I've got the light on. But it doesn't matter. I've got nothing to hide. I'm not ashamed of my body.
Yeah, my place, I have a little black piece of cardboard on part of my window so they can't see in. Because, I can see out when I sit in my chair over there and see them watching TV and that, and I don't want people watching me.
No curtains, Alan?
Yeah, I have, Venetian blinds that go up and down, but I guess I could pull them up and down.
Yeah, that's what they're for.
Yeah, they're half blocked, though, and they get caught. It's awkward.
Well, Greg's view is like wide open there.
It is.
What are you sitting on a balcony from your cabin, or is that like a public?
No, it's the balcony of our cabin. We are on the 15th deck. of this ship.
Whoa,
Wow.
that's high up there.
For those who don't know, Greg's on a cruise right now in the middle of the
I am on a
Atlantic
cruise.
Ocean.
I'm coming back from Halifax, Canada. We left last night, and we're on our way home to New York City. So we get in New York City early in the morning, So I'm guessing we're out of Canadian waters by now, probably in Maine, somewhere.
I
somewhere
imagine.
The other day in New York tomorrow?
Oh yeah, New York City.
The other day there, huh?
No,
Great.
we're getting off the boat and running to the airport as quick as we can.
Oh,
You can probably tell where you are, whether you're still in Canada, whether the fish are still friendly or not. Or polite, I should say, rather,
If
maybe.
they're polite. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. Greg's got his
Yeah.
fishing pole out there. Oh,
Nah,
no way.
let the fish be.
You haven't been reading. You haven't had any reading time, have you, Greg? You've been too busy doing other stuff.
I've actually had a bit of reading time.
Have you?
We have sea day. This is a sea day, so all you are is at sea all day long. And why you can go see some shows and entertainment. We usually do that in the evening after dinner. So the afternoons are all to ourselves and whatever we want to do. And
Pervasive.
I'm happy kicking back with
Yeah.
my Kindle, picking up something to read.
There you go. Well, so how are the shows like there?
They're pretty good. They're mostly pop music oriented. So like there was a woman who was doing ABBA songs.
Hmm.
And you know, ABBA is not my favorite type of music. at all.
Dancing Queen.
Yeah, you know, it's not my kind of music. But she was a fine singer. It's just they're catering to like I said, the popular set. They can't
Yeah.
do anything too risque, too over the top, you know. So
Yeah.
and
Have
then
you
they
been
had
in the pool?
like an evening with they called it rock opera. It was like standard rock songs, a lot of pop, more pop rock than classic rock. So I would have liked the old, you know, 60s and 70s, but they were
Yeah.
mostly 80s and 90s and above.
Don't they have like stand-up comedians and stuff like
We
that?
did.
Oh,
We did see it one night. We did see a stand-up comic. They had like a lounge of like two violinists. They had an Irish pub where they're playing traditional Irish music, but
Oh, nice.
oh, I'd be good with that. Yeah.
I would never. We didn't go down there,
No,
but there's really all types of music.
that's
They
where all
had,
the
like-
fun's happening right there. The Irish pub.
Yeah.
That's where all the fun. So it's like in the movie Titanic. It's like all the third-rate passengers down there. They're all the ones dancing and having fun.
Aaron Gobra. Aaron Gobra, man.
Huh.
But no,
Have
lots
you
of
been-
music.
You haven't been in the pool, have you?
No, I brought a swimsuit, but I never went in.
Oh, I'd be going down that big ass slide.
They don't have a slide on this boat. That's a different cruise line.
Oh,
I have to ask, though, Greg, you said you're on the 15th deck. How many decks are there?
Well, the 16th deck is the cafeteria. They have a 17th deck with like a gym and a track you can walk around. And
oh,
then there's an 18th deck, which is I think is exclusive for people who pay more money,
Hmm.
like
Uh,
other amenities.
oh. Well,
the
did
ones
you
that
go
get the
on the trip?
lifeboats when the ship goes down.
Well, they supposedly have enough lifeboats for everyone.
Well, they damn well better by this point.
Yeah,
I tell you where I'd be hanging out. I'd be hanging out by the food. That's where I'd be hanging out.
they have lots of food. They have
Yeah.
the cafeteria, and then they have dining rooms. They have like 4 dining rooms.
Wow.
And they have some specialty restaurants that are an upgrade that you have to pay extra to get into these dining rooms. And why in some ships they had some good ones, like the last ship they had a Brazilian steakhouse.
Oh yeah, you mentioned
Mm.
that. Huh?
I had that, but in this ship we didn't pay for any of the extra meals because it was like Italian or sushi and stuff like that. So
Now, that might be a dumb question, but do you pay for that ahead of time, or can you decide to go there that night and then pay to get in that night, or do you have to pay ahead of time?
it depends on the ship and the package. This ship, it was strictly pay as you go. So you would probably book your night in advance. So you got a table. Like
Mhm.
you dock, I get on a Saturday and say, well, on Thursday night, I want to go to this restaurant, and they get you a reservation. But it is like $40 a head more to get in.
Wow, that's a lot.
Well,
Yeah, with
any
drinks.
other restaurant, that quality of food would be in the hundreds.
Oh yeah, yeah, especially with
So it's
drinks.
not a bad deal.
Yeah, but it is $40
Yeah.
on top of what you already pay, which is quite a lot.
Oh,
So-
true.
That
Yeah.
is correct. Standard food is just whatever you can eat. There are some premium desserts. If you don't buy a drink package, drinks are anywhere from like $8 to $14.
Wow.
I was surprised. Like some of the beers are only $8, which I thought was, well, not really reasonable, but
Is that only
reasonable.
alcoholic drinks, or are soft drinks included in the initial package?
No, soft drinks are $30, not $30, $3 a can.
$3 a can.
So we purchased a drink package with like gratuities because you're supposed to tip all the servers, and it was like $40 a day or $60 a day.
Hmm.
It's still I can't drink. I can barely drink enough alcohol to cover it, and I have like 4 drinks a day, and my
So
wife
you-
has about two. Has
So
about
you had
two.
lemon martini.
Lemon
Yeah, had a couple lemon drops.
I was just thinking though, what the I guess the lifeboats are on multiple decks, are they?
Pardon?
The lifeboats would be on multiple decks, right?
No, they're only on one deck.
What deck is that? Do you know?
That
First
I
one?
believe is the 7th deck.
Okay,
Seven.
maybe that's better because I'm thinking I'm definitely afraid of heights, and I was thinking if I was on the 15th deck
Ah,
and I had to get over the
Yeah.
side and be hanging in that thing, I think I'll take my chances with the boats. So-
Yeah.
No, you would run down the stairs to the 7th deck.
7 maybe I can manage. 7 floors up, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not good with heights either.
me neither.
Even just roof level of a house, I get a little anxious. Not
Well,
good.
that would be a
vertigo.
problem because the cafeteria is on the 16th deck, so it's rather high up.
Yeah.
But it's not like a glass elevator or something, is it?
No, they're standard elevators. They do have some glass elevators, but it's only for like decks 5, 6, and 7, and then it turns into a regular elevator.
So how many
So I
more
guess-
days are you? Sorry,
Sorry.
Mark. Go ahead.
I guess you got shops there and stuff, have you?
Oh, they have lots of overpriced stuff if you want to buy it.
Yeah.
Have you bought any books?
I did buy some books in
Oh,
Nebraska
not on the ship, but yeah.
on the ship. No,
At
although
the
they do have a
Breno.
library
Oh,
and they have
that's
a
good.
book exchange every day.
Hmm.
And it's just you finish a book, you take it and exchange it for something else.
Mm-hmm.
Must be
Lots of
difficult now with everybody reading Kindles.
Yeah, although I'm surprised at how many people I've seen reading books. I almost want to stop and talk to them because after the comedy show, which was at 8:30, got out like 9:45. We're walking through a lounge, and there's a little old man, probably 80s, a little old lady. The little old man was reading some old paperback. Classic.
Reminded you of yourself, probably.
And I almost stopped and talked to him, but my wife was just zoomed. She was off and
Huh.
never had a chance. And during one of the shows, you sit down. You really have to come in early because the seats, you don't have free tickets. You have to come early and find your seat. There's a woman reading a paperback book just waiting for the show to start. So you do have some readers on this ship.
It's funny that you look at that now and you think it's an odd thing to see somebody with an actual physical paperback book in their hand. You know?
You're right.
Yeah, I see people around on the bus reading and
Yeah.
on the
So-
train.
We got a couple comments. I'll just put them up real quick. We've got William. Hello, Jim and everybody. Looking forward to a great
William.
stream. Hi, William.
Hey, William.
And Ariana is here. Haven't heard from Ariana in a while. Ariana
Ariana.
Fowler.
Man.
Hi, everyone. Greg wins for the best background.
Ah,
Yeah,
Indeed.
for
You're not
sure.
going to get this background very often.
No.
Yeah, it
And
must
it's-
be
Noise
quite a
again?
first probably on BookTube, I imagine.
Now, is the noise is it too noisy?
No.
No,
You don't hear the C?
Not really.
no.
Okay.
There could be worse things anyway we'd hear. That's not a bad thing to hear. But no, it's all good. And we hear you very well, which is nice.
Excellent.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you'd make it on or not, so I'm glad you did.
Yeah, as I said, the internet connection on this ship is fantastic.
Well, you know what? It'd almost have to be because people expect it now, which is part of their life. People might be doing business from the ship,
Yes.
and they need that Wi-Fi signal, right? It's just part of life now. And if you're on a ship and they don't have good Wi-Fi, people aren't going to come.
I know.
Are
It's
you
like,
actually out of sight of land at all? I mean, can you see
well-
it the
well-
whole time?
my end, this is facing east.
Right.
So I don't see any land. If we're
Yeah.
on the opposite end of the ship, you could see a faint outline of the shore.
Hmm.
So I don't know how far that is in nautical miles, but if the ship went down, I would not want to try to swim it.
No.
Does mean help would get there quicker though. So at
Yeah.
least
So
the
how
people
many-
on the west side.
How many more days are you on the sea there?
I disembark at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Oh,
So just a week then, was it?
Just a week.
Yeah. And it's back to the old grindstone.
Who have you got on that one? Open mic.
Yeah, just Ireland. I just made this and I painted it, mailed one to Greg for a souvenir. But yeah, I don't know who scheduled us, but we don't have it. We have like 6 shows in a row now. But we still have like one day off a month, but it just happened to show up like that.
Okay.
I do the scheduling. I don't know what I was thinking.
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
So
it's
what have
fun.
you been reading, Alan? Or no, sorry, Greg. Like, what did you read while you're on?
Oh well, I read finished 2 books. I read A Short Stay in Hell, which I've actually done a quick review on this balcony. It's essentially, does everyone know what Pascal's wager is?
No.
It rings a bell.
It's philosophy. It's basically Pascal said it's an argument to believe in God. He said it's better to believe in God and there to be no God because you don't lose anything. But if you don't believe in God and there is a God, you lose everything.
There's the rub.
But the only problem is Pascal was a devout Catholic, and he couldn't conceive of a different God in heaven than his God. So this one, Zoroastrianism is the correct religion.
Mm.
And whoever is
Correct.
not Zoroastrianism gets to go to hell. And does anyone know the short story Library of Babel by Jorge Luis Borges?
Heard of it.
No.
Okay, that's where every possible book that could be printed exists in a library. And you have 30 characters in the alphabet with the alphabet and punctuation. So somewhere in that library is a book that's all letter A's.
Hmm.
Nothing but letter A. And
Uh-huh.
there's a second book where every letter is letter A except the second letter is letter B. And there's another book where every letter is A, but the third letter is letter B. So have all those possible combinations.
It's almost
And
like
someone did the math and said there would be more books in this library than there are electrons in the universe.
Mm.
And
it's like
to get out of
it's like a multiversal theory, almost like the multiverse, only
well,
with
there's no
books.
multiverse. It's
Yeah.
a finite number of books, but it's really infinite. And your task in hell is to find the book that tells your story without any mistakes.
Wow. Yeah, it's like what if a monkey had a typewriter and could right?
Right.
Where
Yeah.
he
So
read a novel.
it's a great little story of, sort of like existential, not but philosophy and religion. And it's only 110 pages, but it's great. The one
Yeah.
I'm reading now is my favorite so far. And this is Titanium Noir.
Oh, I
by
just
Nick
saw that
Harkaway.
somewhere. Yeah.
This is a cross between Philip K. Dick and Raymond Chandler.
Oh, man.
And Nick Harkaway is John le Carre's son.
Yeah.
And he's really just as good of a novelist as his father. So great science fiction and mystery story all wrapped into one. Really enjoying it.
That'd be cool.
I just saw that online because we've been watching The Man in the High Castle on Prime, and I Googled it, and that book came up, and it looks intriguing. So you read it.
I'm about a quarter way through.
What do you think so far?
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might have to take a look for that one.
I don't know how often Canada puts books on sale, but this came up on a Kindle sale for $1.99 a couple months ago,
Oh,
and I grabbed it.
Yeah,
What
no,
was the
Greg,
name again?
you've been on the lookout for the collected fiction of Borges for me. I know. I've been looking too for the last few months.
I was looking for you in the Brattle. They didn't have it.
Yeah, I want to read some of him. I'm really ignorant about him. Una at Codex Cantina, they like Borges too.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear, Greg. What was the name of the one you read again? The one you just talked about?
Titanium Noir by Nick
Titanium
Harkaway.
Noir. Thank you.
very nice, very cool.
Is
So, how long did you spend at the Brattle? Is that your first time?
my first time. I got there. We were scheduled to meet at noon, but we got off the ship a lot earlier than we thought. So I was there for about 25 minutes before Steve showed up, and I found all my books already. So I talked to Steve shopping books for like 20, 25 minutes, something like that. And again, he had a business call he had to take, so
Yeah.
he had to get going.
What are you looking
But
at there,
here's
Mark?
the Brattle is not as big as Steve let. It sounds like a much bigger bookstore.
Yeah.
Really, that it is. But the sale lot's kind of interesting because they have all these old books. And the way Steve described it is like they start off at $5. If no one buys it for $5, it drops to like $3. And then it drops to $1. And after a certain amount of time, they just throw the dollar books out. He hates it, but no one's buying it. And they can't keep them indefinitely.
Yeah. I was always curious looking at their outside lot. How do they store them at nighttime or when it rains? Or
They have covers that put it over.
yeah, yeah,
And some of them they can seal, but honestly, I think if they get too wet, they just throw them out.
yeah. Sounds like they have a lot of books.
They have
Huge
a lot,
inventory.
and a lot. Like I said, a lot of these books, you really have to know what you're looking for because no one's going to want these biographies of someone published in the '60s that no one cares about anymore, unless you're Steve Donahue.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What about yourself, Alan? What have you been reading? I saw you hold up Raymond Chandler there.
Oh, I just, because Greg mentioned it, I've never read The Long Goodbye yet. So
I think we need to test Alan sometimes by mentioning a book and see how quickly he can pull it up because it seems like it's almost like, I'm sure you're like one of those Harry Potter things where you just go,
I wish. I don't have a whole lot of books. I don't have a whole lot of like unread books either. But I've been, it's just I get lucky, Mark. But I've been buddy reading this with Wolf Hall with Aaron Facer and our friend Randy Ray, and I'm way ahead of them, so I had to put it down. I'm really enjoying it. I now know more about the Tudors than I ever thought I would, and Anne Boleyn is second wife, Jane Seymour is third wife. So I like the Royals and that anyway. So I like history. Then I'm like middle of this. God bless you, Mr. Rosewater, from our secret Kurt Vonnegut group. Oh, it's not so secret. We've been doing it for a few years, reading through Kurt Vonnegut. You guys heard of this book? Master Slave, Husband, Wife? Came
I
out
read
last year.
I think I've heard of it.
I read
Yeah.
the Booker Prize. Not. It's still up.
For the Booker Prize?
Yeah.
What for the Booker Prize?
Oh, BookTube Prize.
Yeah, so I have this from the library, and here at Big Hard Books and Classics, we read. I don't read a lot of new books, new releases, so I try to get in one every other month or so. Or I ask somebody to buddy read with me and pick, have them pick a new book. But what's on my Kindle? I have a bunch of stuff on my Kindle waiting. Like I have some Tana French.
Well, I downloaded one on Kindle for Occult Detective October because last year I pretty much grabbed all the books on my shelf for Occult Detective October, and I figured, okay, I've got to find a new one that I didn't do last year, and that's when I saw the Sherlock Holmes and Kolchak do a team up. So I downloaded that on my Kindle, so I'm going to read that for Occult Detective October.
Yeah, I saw you did a video on that, didn't you? Or
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, just my Occult Detective intro video.
So I'm looking forward to next month in Occult Detective a lot. It's going to be like when I was in your Sherlock Holmes group and I learned so much. And
Yeah.
so I've already got stuff downloaded too. I'm waiting for it to show up, but like MJ suggested something I was able to download it on. Was it Audible or it might be on my Libby. But I do have that one guy, the horror on the links.
Seabury Quinn.
Yeah, so is he
Yeah, I
pretty good?
got all 5 volumes of his
Oh, do you?
works after you talked about it last week. Yeah, on ebook, but
He's like
Yeah.
classic, huh?
I do want to check out, what is it called? The Sandman Slim series. I think, Greg, you might have talked
I
about
got that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I have it on audio, I think.
and Randy recommended it too. And I've got one ready to order, and it just looks intriguing. It looks really good. So I don't know. I might look into picking up the first volume of that one for Occult Detective. But Mark,
What about The Witch of Lime Street? Have you heard of that? It's Houdini and something that was recommended in the Occult Detective Boxer group.
the Witch of Lime Street.
Yeah. And then I got this other gem, another Douglas Preston and child book, The Cabinet of Dr. Ling.
Oh, I've heard of that one too. I think my wife has that one on her shelf. I think.
I think that's an OC, Occult Detective.
Yeah.
Got that on audio. So I'm starting to try to find some things. I think I have some holds on the library too for authors I've forgotten.
Yeah. Ariane says, Alan, how are you getting on with Mantle's writing? And then
Oh, yeah, I like it a lot. It's funny, humorous, but then it's horrific and people getting burned at the stake and getting their heads removed. And, I'm not giving away any spoilers, but
typical Saturday night back in the 1700s.
Right. And we all know how Cromwell was going to end too, but you keep flashing back and going like all the way back to his childhood. It kind of starts, but it keeps it jumping. And he gets some really sarcastic jibes that make you laugh out loud. So I'm enjoying it. Yeah, thanks, Ariane.
Yeah, I haven't heard from Ariane in like forever. It's Good,
She
good
was
to
on
see
our
you.
Faulkner and August group.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, she's really active in that.
good. So, Mark, how have you been doing?
Reading wise, I finished the first Perry Mason. We mentioned it last week. I finished it probably the next day. I don't know. I enjoyed that, so I picked up the second. Maybe two-thirds of the way through. 2/3 of the way through that, and really enjoying it. I think I'm definitely a Perry Mason fan. And then I'm reading a biography of. Well, is it a biography? It's called Agincourt, and it's by Juliet Baker. And it's basically, I guess it is kind of a biography of Henry V, which is excellent as well. Very engaging, very just fascinating about the the English archers at Agincourt, English and Welsh archers at Agincourt against the French. I can't really say it's for Historathon because it's not in the right quarter. So, I should have read it 2 or 3 months ago. But yeah, it is just fascinating. The amount of arrows they took with them, for example, and how many arrows an English longbowman could shoot a minute. It's quite incredible, really. And yeah, it's just really very interesting.
That's all stuff that would have been documented.
Yeah.
Like the number of arrows they took on their, interesting.
Yeah. I think he collects up to something like 1.5 million arrows.
Wow.
To be used between, I think it's somewhere between 5,000 or 6,000 archers. He's got a fairly small force. He's only got between 6,000 and 7,000 men, probably. 1,000 of them are normal, just kind of men at arms, and the others are archers. To be considered like just okay for an English bowman, you could let off 10 arrows a minute. Some of them at Agincourt were doing 20. I think it's something like in the first. Was it the first minute? Because I'm reading this because of listening to a podcast, right? And so maybe I'm mixing up the information. But I think it's something like in the first minute there was over 60,000 arrows shot by the English, so it like almost blacked out the sun. And they were facing a French force around 2 to 3 times larger than themselves. Yeah.
Was there archers on the other side, on the French side?
No, they had crossbowmen, probably. I think.
Which would be a shorter distance, like they wouldn't go as far as the arrows.
Much slower to fire. But I think maybe not so much. I mean, the whole thing was complete disaster. I mean, the French were absolutely slaughtered. I mean, considering they were so superior, they were on home turf. Everything should have gone their way, but they ended up completely. I mean, I think they lost 3 royal dukes, and then the amount of the entire aristocracy of one region of northern France was wiped out completely. Every single family was gone in this one battle there.
Wow.
The
archers would be a huge advantage. The archers would be.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it didn't do so much according to, again, I don't know now if it's the book or the podcast, but the podcast was based heavily on this book, which is why I wanted to read it because it sounded fascinating. But the thing was that the archers basically did a lot more damage with things like the horses, right? And of course, because what happened was the farmers had plowed fields and it had rained, and it was, I think it's October, it was muddy and horrible. So like as the French kind of charge in against the English, and then when the horses are knocked out, the men go down with the horses and they can't get up again because they're in their armor, they're covered in mud. So a lot of them drowned or suffocated to death because of the mud, and then obviously more and more people crushing on top of them. And then the archers were pretty vicious, really, because they would fire. They used to have these wooden stakes that they had in front of them to protect them from the horses, and they would nip around the front, and they would just take out their daggers and they would just jab them through the eye slits of the helmet or up through the neck. So a lot of the casualties had the death wounds from being stabbed through the eye or through the neck. Yeah, it's horrific, like absolute slaughter, really.
Yeah, that would. I wouldn't getting hit with an arrow. I think I'd rather get a cap in the ass. Get hit with an arrow. You know, you got
Brutal. Like
Oh.
humans can be brutal, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most brutal
Yeah.
things though was actually
Henry
Henry V himself in one battle against the Welsh. Was it the Welsh, or maybe it was some kind of rebellion against his father? He got shot through the basically this part of his face
Wow.
with an arrow, and you know that's bad enough, but the
Oh.
the treatment for how they removed the arrow and then proceeded to treat it was just unbelievably barbaric. It's amazing he lived. I mean, it really is just amazing he
Oh
lived.
my God.
But it's also interesting because he's one of the few kings you don't see his whole face, right? So I wonder if he was like really badly scarred from it, because if you look him up on you know Henry V, he's always shown in profile. So I wonder.
Well,
like,
yeah, there'd be nothing
Yeah.
like reconstruction surgery back. in
no,
the day.
not at all, not at all.
No.
But
Wow.
it's a very, very, very excellent, excellently written, excellently researched book, and very entertaining too. Like, I mean, it keeps you turning like just the factoids and stuff. Really enjoying it. Yeah, and that, as I say, is married in with the second Perry Mason book, which is also great. Well, which is obviously
They are good, aren't they? They're just pulpy fun.
brilliant. Just great
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And he cranked him out, boy. He was quite the writer. So
Yeah.
William says, would Dirk Gently be a good fit for Occult Detective October? I've never read Dirk Gently, any of those books.
I have not either.
So I'm not too sure, William.
I like the name.
Yeah. Dirk
I think
Gently's
he's,
holistic
isn't he more
detective.
science fiction than occult?
Sounds like a
I would
porn
say so.
star or something, doesn't it?
Does.
Yeah. Ariane says that she's been out of town and getting her son ready for school. Yeah, busy time of year. I know I had 4 kids, and yeah, busy time of year. But they're all grown up now. And Steve reads in the Driftless says, Greg, where's your final port of call?
I had my final port of call in Halifax yesterday, and I'm heading to New York City, where I'll disembark at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Hey, our talking about traveling, our friend Pat at Book Chat with Pat
In Ireland,
arrived. Yeah, she arrived in Dublin yesterday and sent me a photo from the airport. It's
Cool.
all on her phone, but yeah. So I'm real happy about that because, you know, I'm Irish as well, as you guys, everyone knows probably. But
I can tell by the accent, Alan.
yeah, or at least by the flags. I got anyway. Like I've been living vicariously through her too for the past week.
Yeah.
Her getting ready and.
That was like me when my son went to Ireland. I was kind of living vicariously through him.
Yeah.
He went to the UK and Ireland and Scotland and Greek islands and all over the place.
My father goes back every other like 3-4 years. We'll go back to Ireland.
Yeah.
How far's your connection? What is it? Grandparents, great grandparents,
Third generation.
so grandparents were
Yeah,
born in
my-
Ireland.
My maternal. I never met my grandfather maternal, but my grandmother was alive for a few years. She was really quiet.
Oh,
Yeah, unlike my other grandma. I was really close to my other grandma, my paternal one. But yeah, they're really secretive. My mother was real quiet and I'd always ask her questions about because I never met her father, and I'd ask about Ireland and stuff, and she just really closed mouth about it. Like even in death, my dad said, "Oh, well, I found some journals that your mother left you." I said, "Oh, great! I'm going to be able to like maybe show I'll get some history in that." They were blank journals, for writing journals.
yeah.
Machiavelli.
Generational thing, man. Like they didn't really talk a lot about themselves back in the day. You know, they just kind of kept it close to the vest. I think.
Yeah, and even like
Maybe it was some big shame, like they're not Irish at all. In fact, they're actually English. Oh my God.
it's funny.
Yeah. Or Protestants, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. She's just really even like don't let the neighbors know any. Just really weird like that.
Yeah, you kind of wish that you took advantage of them when they were around, and talk to them and get their stories, because my great grandfather was a shipbuilder that came over from England or somewhere there, and he was made his money in shipbuilding, and I know virtually nothing about them about him,
yeah.
but yeah, and everybody who knew all the stories and had all the stuff and they're gone now. So
Yeah.
it's all gone.
You can learn quite a lot online. I will say one thing, Jim, that the records in Britain are pretty good, actually.
Yeah. But you have to get names and birth dates so you can verify everything and track it down. And even that I'm not even sure I have access to anymore, which is
family Bibles, or like they used to write names and dates in family Bibles.
Yeah, and Bibles. That was a good source of information. Yeah. But as for me, I mean, I've been reading. It's Sumerian September, so I mean, I've been reading like Conan like crazy. So I just finished. I just finished Conan the Rebel today, as a matter of fact, about a half an hour before I came on, and this talks about it's got the origin of the character Bailey, who was created by Robert E. Howard in Queen of the Black Coast. So this is by Paul Anderson, who's a famous fantasy author. And this was pretty good. He's good with description. He knows about the geography and the cultures of the Hyborian age. But again, it's the same problem with any other pastiche of Conan, is he just doesn't get Conan. I mean, he just acts out of character, and that you're reading it and the character Conan just acts totally opposite of how you would expect him to act, and it takes you out of the story. But I mean, as for a story, it was pretty good. It wasn't bad. And I finished this number 2 of the El Sprague de Camp Carter series. And this one here is actually the first one that I'd ever read. When I was a kid, I picked this up from the store, and that was probably my first prose book I read of Conan. So, it's kind of neat reading it again. And, comic book stuff. Like I've got one of these epic comic book collections, and I read through that one, and that's Queen of the Black Coast, and there's Bailey there. But yeah, that's all I've been doing. Let's see. I
finally got around to seeing your Batman video, Jim. That was brilliant.
Yeah, you commented on it. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that, man. That was a fun video to do. I got to do more like that, but it didn't get many views. Not that I care, and not that I noticed.
I even shared it to a couple people.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, shared it to Adam Savage over in Malaysia. He's in the comic books and that.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I shared it with a friend of mine on Facebook. Yeah, I keep there's a few comic stores in Portland still open. There used to be one in Old Town that I'd go to. There's one just like a bus ride away. I go past it all the time.
Yeah,
I keep threatening to go inside it, but every time I go into a book or record store, I spend money.
It's funny because I mean we're old enough to have seen the advent of the comic book shop, and I think it'll probably by the time we die they'll be gone. You won't have them anymore, and that's just weird. That little window of our lives where we saw the beginning and the ending of the local comic shop, which is kind of weird.
Kindle or whatnot. It's not Paperwhite. It's that's how far behind the times I am. What's the new one that you can get color?
Oh, no idea. You're talking to the wrong guy.
You're probably talking about the color e-inks, either the Kobo Libre or the books.
Yeah, the Libre.
So you can read the comics and see them in color.
Yeah, but the screen would be very small for that.
Oh,
There's a few with larger screens, but I don't think they're very popular yet.
Yeah.
Inexpensive, too.
They are. What's amazing is there's a lot of videos dissing the Amazon Kindle and saying, I want everyone to read the Kobo. Like Criminali's done that. And
MJ.
There's another woman who has like 19,000 views on her video doing that.
Really?
And the thing is, she gave some advice that you can remove DRM for personal purposes. For
You can-
personal use.
You
That
can
you can
remove
remove
what?
DRM for personal use.
Digital rights management,
Digital
the
rights
DRM.
management, that's the
Oh.
encryption that prevents. And Ollie says it's legal in the UK. I'm not exactly sure if it is. I know it's probably not illegal in the United States
That
because
stuff's kind of over my head.
you can be fined up to $2,500 per
Yeah,
violation.
they got to find me first.
They do, but and they're not.
Portland's not that big, is it, Alan?
The what?
Portland's not that big, is it?
No, but my theory is that you don't want to get caught if you ever do it, because if you have 1,000 ebooks like I do, and it's $2,500 per violation, you do the math.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
You'd be on the lam. You'd be running from the law.
Steve Reeds wishes you fair winds, Greg.
We have no sale. It's all engine. But yeah, thank you.
It's all engine. There's no
Takes
winds,
the
there's no-
romance out of it. I
So-
must apologize. I am going to have to go. I'm so cold. I literally have to go into the next room. So
Really?
All right.
It's
well,
not
I
bad.
should probably get
is
back
that
in.
I think it must have dropped even more.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like 3 degrees. But I was saying before I came on, I have the roof kind of open. I don't have the insulation partition between because the guy was going to do it before winter. Now we've hit this sudden winter, so
Ooh.
it's just cold air. This is why I've got a jumper on. Cold air
Oh,
funneling into the living
Right.
room, and it's like, oh. So
I don't mind cutting it short anyway. That's
Yeah.
fine. I just nice to catch up
Get
with you
back
guys.
back to doing the cruise stuff. So
Yeah. Head over to the cafeteria, man. That's where I'd be heading. Right when I was done.
yeah.
Get some of that free food.
I might head over there and get an ice cream. Or they don't have ice cream. They have
oh, don't say ice cream,
Soft-
Jesus
soft
Christ!
I might get an icy Coke.
Oh, go for a hot
All right.
chocolate, me.
What's she Coke? I'm going to
All
Pizza
right.
Jerk for lunch myself.
It's been a
Okay,
blast.
guys. We'll
All
we'll
right.
cut her short there then.
All right.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
See you
Thanks
later.
for dropping in.